Welcome to my channel. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer and spiritual life coach. I offer astrology, astrological, and spiritual guidance. In this video, I want to get into the energies for August 2023 because starting right off the month, we have that full moon in Aquarius. We still have Pluto squaring the nodes. We have Venus in 2 yods, which we've been moving through. And then as the month goes on, actually the first 2 weeks of August are the most active. And so I want to get into this energy just to give you a heads up. If you align with my energy and you enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and hit the post notification bell so that you can get notified every time I upload a new video. So as soon as we come into the month, we have the full moon in Aquarius. We have Venus still a part of 2 yods, and we have Mars forming a trine to Jupiter. So there's a lot of energy here. There's a lot of action. Because we have Mars forming a trine to Jupiter, we're really feeling motivated. We have that drive and ambition to really kind of go after what it is that we're focused on. Now, with Venus still being a part of those 2 yods, that's where the challenging energy comes in. That is where there's something not in balance or there's something not aligning, because the yods are 2 inconjunctions and a sextile, and inconjunctions really indicate where there's nothing in common. There's no balance there. There's really where you have to be honest, that's where they can be very psychological, but also where you have to focus on those intentionally. You have to have the self-awareness and really understand the energy you're working with. It's very much like 12th house energy. It has to be worked with consciously. The same with inconjunctions, and that's my own personal feel with them, just dealing with them in my own personal birth chart and really working with them with the transits. And that's how I work with them with my clients. I actually love talking about inconjunctions because inconjunctions can be quite challenging, but there's so much room for personal growth. And that is a lot that's really what the energy we're talking about, especially with Venus, because Venus is a personal planet and Venus represents our relationships, how we connect to ourselves, our self-love, our self-worth, our values, and how we connect in our relationships and how we want to connect in our relationships. And that is all going through major transformation and transition right now, especially in these yods. And I've talked a lot about in my previous videos where there's a lot of reprogramming what we need, what we want, what we desire, how we connect in our relationships, and having the awareness for what is showing up for you right now, whether it is in relationships or whether it is just with yourself, personal boundaries, and really discovering the programs and beliefs around your self-love and worth. And I've noticed a lot coming up, not just with myself and clients, but everyone in general seems like we're going through this almost like discovery of programs and beliefs of what we thought was selfish, what we thought we had to give to others that was really sacrificing ourselves. And I've been talking about this too, where we are really developing an awareness of, understanding that you have to take care of yourself first. And that is a lot of what we're going through with these Venus energies, I think, too. Even though they are showing up for everybody a little bit differently, we are kind of developing this understanding of selfishness. But what is not selfish? Taking care of yourself and filling your own cup up is not selfish. And you really have to take care of yourself before you can be a mother, be a wife, be a husband, be a friend, be a boss. And that is a lot of what we're kind of moving through with these energies. And these inconjunctions and yods is where the escapism can come in because Neptune is involved. And I've talked a lot about that. And when we're not aware of what we are working with energetically, psychologically, emotionally, this is where we can fall into the trap of escapism, falling back into the program, into the old belief system. And so that's why it's so important to work with these inconjunctions consciously, but with awareness, so you can catch yourself when those old programs are sneaking up and you're falling into the traps, because that's a lot of what these odds can bring up is traps, because we have Neptune, which is illusion, delusion, escapism. This is where people can fall into addictions, and however those addictions look like for you, because their addictions can show up in many different forms. And the fact that we have Pluto involved as well with this yod is where the universe is saying there's room for personal growth and transformation, but it requires you to come out of your comfort zone, not fall into the trap of escapism, the old program, the old belief, or however that looked like for you, not falling into that and starting something new, even though it requires you to come out of your comfort zone and really work with it intentionally and get uncomfortable, because whenever we transform and change, we are stepping out of our comfort zone. And this actually even brings up, I heard a quote someone said, oh gosh, I can't remember. I hope I get it right, but the comfort zone is where dreams die. I think that's how it went. I hope it is. I'm going to check it and I will clarify if I'm wrong. But and it's true, because when we stay stuck in our comfort zone, there really is no room for growth. And in order to grow, you do kind of have to get out of your comfort zone. And that is the energy we are working with this Venus retrograde in Leo and these yods with Venus and all of that. Now, Venus is also part of a yod with the South Node, but also still Neptune. And again, this is really interesting because it's adding to this Venus energy where it's almost like opportunities coming up, or becoming aware of what is no longer in alignment and needing to release and let that go. And also, and the universe also showing that if you change, if you make the change, if you get uncomfortable, if you don't fall into the same trap, and you step into the unknown, and you choose the unknown and the growth, that's a part of your destiny, your purpose and fate and your journey and your mission. And there's this amazing amount of growth that you can partake in a sense, if that makes sense to you. Again, I use my intuition when I dive into these energies as well. So where I do talk about the astrological energies, I also relay intuitive messages. So I kind of trust what comes up, that it's for someone that may need to hear it. So sometimes it may not make sense, but I'm just also relaying intuitive messages as well, because I have to trust that that message needs to be delivered and find somebody. And if you come across this video and you're not watching or listening to this video for nothing. The universe is really, or for no reason, the universe is putting this video in front of you for you to listen, because there's a message in it that you need to hear. Now, as we move through August, we have Venus form that square to Venus retrograde, form that square to Uranus. And then we also have the Sun form a conjunction to Venus. And so with that Uranian energy, this is where we can have something very sudden, something very unexpected. And when we're talking about Uranus energy, Uranus is known as the Great Awakener. And I know for me, this is where I can receive a lot of intuitive insights, and I get a lot of intuitive insights while I'm driving. And I used to actually use my voice notes or voice recorder on my phone, because you can't write while you're driving. And when we're talking about intuitive downloads with Uranian energy, they really come in fast and they don't stay, and you can try and remember after, and you just can't. I know that's how it is for me. But this is where you really want to be paying attention to those intuitive downloads and intuitive messages. They can be coming in quick and fast, and you want to be able to either write them down or record them with your phone, with your voice notes, because they can really help in the future. And this is where I talk a lot about journaling. When we're journaling down the energies daily, or your mindset, your thoughts, whatever is really coming to you daily, you can reflect back. And a lot of times you can use that energy. You can use those notes. That really works as guidance for you. And I always kind of suggest that with my clients to journal. I journal every day. I have journals for the moon and I have journals for all different kinds of things, but journaling I find has really helped, especially when I was on my healing journey. And so for anyone that's really on a healing journey right now, especially with these Venus energies, journaling can definitely help in guiding you through through this entire journey, really. Now, when the sun forms that conjunction to Venus, this is where we can have something coming in. Remember, the sun represents our identity, our self-expression, even our ego. Now, later on in August, the sun is going to oppose Saturn when the sun enters Virgo. The sun is going to form an opposition to Saturn. This is where we can have some challenges with our self-expression, with our ego, with our self-identity. But when we have the sun conjunct Venus, this can bring in some guidance, some insight for this journey that you're moving through with these Venusian themes and topics. And so I also want to get into the fact that throughout the month, we will have Mercury kind of moving closer to Mars. And that is why I titled this video Set in Action, because we have Mars forming that trine to Uranus. We have Mercury moving closer to Mars. And so throughout the month, now, I do want to note that Mercury is going to station retrograde August 23rd and will be retrograde until September 15th. So Mercury doesn't form an exact conjunction to Mars, but does move quite close. And when I kind of went into these energies, one of the things that I got was kind of this unexpected information. And this can be collectively, also individually, but I felt more collectively, like we hear something on the news or we get some type of information that is shocking, that is unexpected, and that really has everyone wanting to take action with something. So that's definitely something to be aware of and mindful of, because Mars represents taking action, motivation, willpower, drive, goals. And so with Mercury, though, in the mix, it's like hearing something, receiving some type of unexpected information, because there's that Uranian element, and it's having everyone wanting to take action. Now, because Mercury and Mars is in Virgo, this is something, again, we want to be mindful of, because with Virgo energies, we can get stuck on an outcome, or we can get stuck on a vision, or being laser focused on an outcome. And we have to loosen that up a little bit, especially with Uranus coming in. Uranus is going to shake that up, where we're going to have to kind of try not to hold on to an outcome or hold on to something that we feel needs to play out in a certain way. Now, another energy that I would like to talk about before this video is over is the fact that Venus is going to form a trine to Chiron. I've talked a lot about this, and again, we're just moving through so much Venus energy right now, but this is where you can have beautiful healing energy coming in. This can also where there can be something triggered or activated unexpectedly, because Venus is forming a square to Jupiter and Uranus. So something can be activated or triggered where you are focusing on something. However, the end result can be quite powerful and healing, where let's just say there's something activated, or there is a disagreement between you and a partner or someone or a relationship, but it really has you sitting with the energies where whatever was said within that argument, you're sitting and you're thinking, and it triggers something, and you can have this click where you now develop this almost power within yourself to say, I am no longer going to tolerate this, or it really triggers you to develop healthy boundaries. So then moving forward, you start developing this healthy sense of self on what you're going to tolerate and what you're not going to tolerate. And you develop boundaries, you develop standards, because I think a lot of us are too programmed to think that high standards is something that is selfish or something that is needy or high maintenance. I know for me, that was something I really had to overcome on my journey, that having standards is just healthy, and you actually need it to become and have this healthy sense of self and healthy version of yourself and be truly happy, whole, and complete. And it is not selfish, and it doesn't mean that you are too needy or have these high standards. It just means that you are a healthy individual that knows what you want, how you want it, and that is okay. And that doesn't mean that you are needy. It doesn't mean that you are selfish. It doesn't mean that you are rude or however many words or terms we can really throw in there that other people will use, especially toxic people and manipulative people. It just means that you have a healthy sense of self, and that is okay. And I think that that can be a lot of energy we move through this month as well because of the Chiron element, because Chiron also represents vulnerabilities, wounds, traumas, which can stem from childhood or a past experience. And this can turn into conscious beliefs and programs that follow us into our relationships and show up in our values and how we feel about ourselves and our standards and boundaries. And so there can be a situation or an experience show up for you this month where it can seem challenging, it can seem hard or toxic or negative. But if you actually sit in the energy and reflect, there can be like a blessing or gift within that experience where you can develop some personal growth and healing from that. I hope that makes sense. But that's honestly, I've been feeling this for the last few weeks of a lot of people really moving through this. And so I really wanted to share that because it shows up in the astrology and I'm also feeling it intuitively. Now, as we reach the end of August, we are going to have 6 planets retrograde and Chiron retrograde. So throughout the month of August, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of thinking, there is a lot of sitting with the energies, there's a lot of situations and experiences coming up that as we leave the month, there can be a lot of reflection, reevaluating, redirecting, and figuring out next steps, however this shows up for you, whatever this looks like for you. And so just something to be mindful and aware of, that as we reach the end of August, it's okay. And it's okay to not have answers now. It's okay to decide to sit with something and sit in the energy and listen to your intuition and develop that intuitive knowing and start to trust your intuition and what feels right for you, what is in alignment with you. And as we have all those planets retrograde, 6 planets retrograde by the time we end August or move out of August, there is a lot of reflection and kind of rethinking your direction. So I hope that this kind of August 2023 heads up video helps you get an idea of some of the energies coming in so that you can have that awareness with what is showing up for you, because that is key. Self-awareness is key so that you can be mindful, conscious, and aware and see the energies or feel the energies coming in when something shows up for you. Have that knowing that you can witness what's going on, but you don't necessarily have to react or even respond in the moment. You can sit with it and feel it out, see what shows up for you, and then you can decide to act or respond to whatever it is and however it's showing up for you. And so thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that this really helps you move through the August energies. And don't forget to subscribe if you align with my energy, like this video, and I will connect with all of you in the next one.